Keeling Farm says, if you have one dog, would you hand feed? Would hand feeding be just as easy, and how would you go about it? Yeah, you can hand feed, not dog food. I would hand feed meat scraps if I was gonna hand feed. But I would say just as easy. No, it'd be more work.
I would say that I think it's gonna be it's gonna be difficult to. So okay, let me unpack this a little bit for like what I'm thinking. I get where you're coming from too, where hand feeding them, like the dog's really gonna know you, and you don't have to worry about the sheep like eating the dog food. Like if you're thinking of hand feeding them kibble, because if you throw a pile of meat scraps out there, the sheep aren't gonna eat the meat scraps, which is like an advantage of that. But the disadvantage is like kibble. If you're buying a good quality kibble, like has all of the like vitamins and minerals and nutrients and stuff for like the dog to be healthy, it's kind of difficult to be able to meet all of the nutrition requirements of the dog like just by feeding it raw meat. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just a little bit. It's a little trickier to be able to do it. So like if it was me, like the nutrition part is one thing that's a little difficult if you're gonna feed them meat scraps by hand. But the other piece to it also is like the fact that the dog has access to unlimited kibble means that like you don't want them to be hungry, because if they do get hungry, that's when they might think about gnawing on a sheep tail or gnawing on a sheep's ear or something like that. And a little bit of nibble here, a little bite there is going to turn into killing a sheep in a couple weeks. And so if you have a gravity flow feeder out there, it's going to guarantee that the dog is getting all the food that it possibly could want. And so they're just going to be happy to do their job, and they won't feel the need to go nibbling on something they shouldn't.
Yeah, and you could say, well, you just give them a ton of meat scraps.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is they're going to go and they're going to bury
what they can't eat at once.
Whatever percent of those meat scraps, and you're thinking, oh man, he's eating it. I'll keep dumping it to him. When really you're just wasting the extra meat scraps. And so I would say for no harder than it is to build.
Expensive.
We literally took 2 hog panels, cut them whatever 64 inches or whatever we cut them. Cut 2 sections of it, made some runners, bolted them or screwed them together, put a couple cross pieces on it, hooked the wires together, nailed them or stapled them to the boards, and you were done.
Yeah.
Hook the dog feeder.
And the dog feeder doesn't cost that much either. Like the gravity flow thing, it's
the dog feeder is going to be your most expensive part.
Yeah. So
and that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean like, I think it's just the way to go. Mm-hmm. I think that's just the way to go for sure, but. Anyway, that's our opinion.
And that's just gonna, not only is they're never gonna be hungry, but they're gonna get all they need to eat, and so they're gonna be at peak performance all the time.
And that's what you want. Like they do an incredible service for you, being out there and living there with the sheep all the time. And so it's on you to make sure that they get everything they want and they need to eat. You don't want to skimp. Don't want to skimp your dogs. That's for sure. I mean, you don't want to be pouring, especially in the summertime, you don't want to be pouring so much feed in there that it goes stale. Like, that's something to think about. But, like...
So if you got one dog, maybe just fill it halfway or something.
And with our dogs, like, when we only had a normal amount, in the summertime, we'd wait until they ate it down, towards the bottom quarter of the feeder, and then we would top it back off again. So they were getting, like, fresh feed in that feeder, and it didn't go stale. In the wintertime, if it's cold, you don't have to worry about it. Like it's like keeping it in the fridge, so or the freezer, the deep freezer.
The deep freeze.
So yeah.